Okay, boomers, let's talk about things that millennials consider peak status symbols. Things that to you probably make zero sense. Because while boomers were out there collecting fine china and buying big houses, millennials were busy, obsessing over their houseplants and fulfilling a deep spiritual need to DoorDash a $20 burrito at 11 p.m. Let's dive into 11 things that millennials absolutely love. Some may even consider them a status symbol. Things that boomers just don't get. The first one is overpriced coffee. Look, the millennial morning routine, it's just not complete without a Starbucks cup in hand. Bonus points if you spring for the cold foam. Because paying $6 for some caffeine and a little bit of happiness, absolutely worth it, and the hellscape that we've inherited in the form of the current American economy. Boomers, meanwhile, are just over here like, you know you can make that at home, right? Sure, boomers are right. But they say that from the homes that they purchased on a single person's salary working in a factory line that is now worth 10 times what they paid for it 40 years ago. So they can keep their mouths shut, and millennials can enjoy their coffee in peace. The second one is the newest iPhone. Every single year. Millennials will update their phone the second that Apple drops a new model, even if their current one works perfectly fine. Hey, the camera is just slightly better on the newer version, and I've got to keep my Instagram as perfect as possible. While many boomers have made the leap from landlines to cell phones, they're happy just sticking with what they know instead of chasing that upgrade. The third thing is beige everything. Beige homes, beige wardrobes, sad beige children. Beige, beige, beige. Is beige really even a color though? Millennials love a minimalist aesthetic look. It may be more grayish, as it's called millennial gray for a reason. Boomers, however, they think homes should have color. You know, like an actual personality. Although what was up with their homes in the 80s with all of the wood paneling and brown? Pot, meat kettle. Another thing boomers just don't get that millennials think is a status symbol is social media clout. Millennials are all over here like, hey, I hit 10,000 followers. I matter now. Hey, you know, we're all becoming estranged from our parents as millennials, so we have to find validation somewhere. Social media is a pretty good place. Boomers are like, wait, what's a follower? They're just iPad parents watching their silly little AI videos that they think are real. Those photo posts that boomers post, they're all accidents. The fifth thing is capsule wardrobes. Millennials have mastered the art of dressing in 10 neutral pieces that go with everything. They also have a higher environmental awareness than older generations, and they're trying to minimize their carbon footprint, which means sticking to the basics instead of chasing fast fashion trends. Boomers, meanwhile, will happily rock a rhinestone jacket and matching loafers because, you know, fashion. They're old enough to not care what they wear and wear what they want. Fitness trackers are another very millennial thing. Boomers happily just go for walks. Like, they'll put on comfy shoes and just go outside and walk around the block. But millennials, on the other hand, they will go for walks, and they do, but they wouldn't dare be caught without some kind of fitness tracker so they can obsessively check every 2 minutes to see how many steps they've taken and make sure they're burning enough calories. It's a little exhausting, but we all do it. Millennials are the generation most obsessed with tracking their fitness stats. Gotta close the rings. It's like I'm my own little Tamagotchi I've gotta keep alive. Food delivery services are another decidedly millennial thing. Millennials won't even consider picking up their own food if DoorDash can do it for them. Why leave the house if you don't have to? That would require putting on shoes and speaking to another human. Absolutely not doing that. Boomers, on the other hand, they'll call the restaurant directly and have a full-blown 10-minute conversation with the restaurant owner before getting in their car and driving to the restaurant and placing an order in person. Insanity. Influencer culture is another thing millennials care about that boomers just have no interest in. Millennials were the first generation to quit their 9-to-5s to make money on the internet, and they can do decently. The estimated annual earnings for a well-known social media influencer in the United States is around $58,000 annually as of February 2025. Boomers, on the other hand, don't even think it's a job, since social media didn't exist when boomers entered the workforce, and they believe it's highly impractical as a career. And honestly, as a parent, I also believe it's a highly impractical career for my children to pursue. So kids, please look into business, something realistic. Thanks. Millennials also have tattoo collections as a status symbol. Millennials are out here covered in ink like walking art galleries. And according to Statistica, 41% of millennials do have at least one tattoo. Boomers, however, are still convinced that a single visible tattoo will keep you from getting hired at any respectable job, but we all know that that's not true anymore. You can get a job and have tattoos. It's a thing. Up next is participation trophies. If you open up your Facebook and scroll long enough, you can probably find some kind of boomer rant about participation trophies because boomers hate participation trophies. Awards, according to boomers, should only be for winners, right? But millennial parents are aware of the fact that participation trophies and winning are not the same thing. They just want to celebrate everyone who comes, shows up, and puts in their best effort. Millennial parents celebrate every kid for being part of a team or activity, regardless of their skill level. Finally, millennials see plant parenthood as a status symbol. Millennials may not be having kids, but just look at their monsteras. 61% of millennials, in fact, don't plan on having kids at all. But as plant parents, they invest the time, effort, and attention needed to make sure that their plants are thriving. Boomers, on the other hand, still want to know when they're gonna get those grandkids already. So who's gonna tell them? It's not happening. So, do millennials love their quirky status symbols? Yes. Do boomers think that they're ridiculous? Also yes. But hey, every generation has its thing. Which one of these status symbols do you secretly love?